The flashing red and blue lights lit up my quiet suburban street that evening. I stood at the window with my heart pounding harder than it ever had before. Karen pointed straight at my brand new mailbox while yelling into her phone. She was screaming to the 911 dispatcher about an immediate deadly hazard outside. I could not believe this woman had actually called the cops on me again. My name is Nicole and I live in Willow Creek just like everyone else here. I moved to this tidy American suburb for peace and perfectly trimmed lawns. Everything stayed calm until Karen seized control of the Homeowners Association board. She turned into a power-hungry dictator hiding behind polite neighborhood smiles. Her first official act targeted my simple black mailbox by the curb. A formal letter arrived claiming it sat 2 inches too close to the road. I figured common sense would win, but Karen had zero interest in that. One sunny afternoon, her giant black SUV roared down the street like a tank. The tires screeched as she swerved hard and smashed my mailbox flat. It flew into the bushes while she kept driving without even slowing down. The smell of hot rubber and crushed metal hung heavy in the summer air. I replaced it the next day, spending my own money with a heavy sigh. 2 weeks later, the exact same thing happened under clear blue skies. This time I ran outside and flagged her down before she could escape. Karen rolled down her window with that fake sweet smile she always used. "It was just a tiny accident, dear," she said in her condescending tone. My blood started to boil, but I kept my voice steady and calm. The third time she did it, I knew this was pure personal harassment. I pulled out the thick HOA rulebook and studied every mailbox rule line by line. Every height, color placement, and material detail got burned into my memory. Then a brilliant idea hit me like a flash of pure inspiration. I ordered a custom reinforced steel mailbox built like an armored vehicle. It met every single HOA regulation perfectly, yet could survive a truck crash. Professional installers arrived early one bright Saturday and poured concrete around the post. By noon, the new mailbox stood tall, sturdy, and completely unbreakable. I mounted a small high-definition security camera aimed right at it for insurance. Karen spotted the upgrade during her morning power walk, and her face turned purple. She marched straight up my driveway, clutching her violation clipboard like a sword. "This ugly eyesore violates every standard and must be removed today," she barked. I stepped outside calmly and looked her dead in the eyes without flinching. "According to Section 7.2, it is fully compliant," I replied evenly. Her mouth opened and closed, but she could not find a single flaw. That night, the familiar engine roar grew louder outside my living room window. I peeked through the curtains as her SUV accelerated straight toward my property. The crash echoed like thunder across the quiet neighborhood, but my mailbox barely moved. Her front bumper crumpled with a sickening crunch of twisting metal and plastic. Steam hissed from the cracked radiator while Karen stumbled out in total shock. She grabbed her phone with shaking hands and dialed emergency services in panic. "Officer, this crazy woman installed a deadly trap on public property," she shrieked. The patrol car arrived fast with lights still flashing across my lawn. Karen pointed at me accusingly, claiming I had tried to murder her. I stayed completely calm and invited the officers inside to see the evidence. The security footage played clearly, showing her deliberate ramming on multiple occasions. One officer scratched his head and gave Karen a very long, stern look. "Ma'am, this looks like intentional property damage, not any kind of accident," he said. Karen stammered and tried to spin the story, but her lies crumbled fast. I had already emailed the full video file to every single HOA board member. The emergency board meeting got called for the very next evening at the hall. Karen showed up dressed in her best power suit, ready to dominate the room. But when the video played on the big screen, the entire crowd went silent. Neighbors who once feared her started sharing their own stories of petty harassment. She had spread vicious rumors about me ignoring rules to ruin my reputation. Some people stopped waving at me and whispered behind my back at the block party. The social pressure had built slowly, but I refused to let it break me. Her carefully built empire of fear started cracking right there in public. The board voted unanimously to remove her as president on the spot. She also owed me full restitution for the 3 mailboxes she had destroyed. As the police took her statement for the false 911 call, she looked defeated. The neighborhood felt lighter and freer the very next morning after the vote. No more surprise inspections or passive-aggressive notes taped to our front doors. I sipped my coffee on the porch admiring the mailbox that ended her reign. Karen's SUV sat in the repair shop with a huge bill she had to pay. Sometimes the smallest smart move brings down the biggest neighborhood bully. My reinforced mailbox proved that petty tyrants always overreach and destroy themselves. The justice tasted sweeter than any HOA-approved potluck dessert ever could. Peace finally settled over Willow Creek like a soft summer breeze at dusk. And I smiled every time I walked past that unbreakable steel sentinel by the curb.